Dear listener, in a world rushing faster than our own breath, we often forget one of the simplest yet most profound acts of living: eating. We eat while scrolling, while driving, while worrying, our minds scattered everywhere but here. And so, food becomes just fuel, not nourishment. But imagine this: you sit before a bowl of rice. You pause. You breathe. You see the rain that fell on the fields, the sun that ripened each grain, the farmer's hand that harvested, the earth that cradled it. Suddenly, this simple bowl becomes a universe of miracles. This is the path of mindful eating, a practice where each bite is an act of gratitude, presence, and awakening. In Savor, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master of mindfulness, and Dr. Lilian Cheung, a nutrition scientist from Harvard, guide us to rediscover food not as an enemy or a temptation, but as a teacher, a way back to ourselves. So today, dear friend, let us walk slowly into this book, not rushing, not swallowing words, but savoring its wisdom as one savors a ripe fruit on a summer day. Together, we'll learn how to nourish both body and soul, one mindful breath, one mindful bite at a time. Chapter 1: The Roots of Mindless Eating. Dear listener, pause for a moment and reflect. How many times have you eaten without even tasting your food? Perhaps standing in the kitchen, grabbing a snack between tasks, or finishing a meal while your mind was on tomorrow's worries. This, Thich Nhat Hanh and Dr. Lilian Cheung explain, is the essence of mindless eating. We live in a culture of speed. Advertisements tempt us with oversized portions, processed foods, and the promise of instant satisfaction. Stress pushes us to use food as comfort, while distraction, screens, phones, conversations, robs us of the awareness of what and how much we consume. The authors remind us that this unconscious way of eating is not merely about gaining weight, it is about losing connection to our bodies, our emotions, and even to the sacred act of nourishment itself. When we eat without awareness, we eat not to live, but to escape. Thich Nhat Hanh offers a simple but profound practice. When you take a bite, stop everything else. Chew slowly. Truly notice the flavors, textures, and even the silence around you. You may discover that the orange you've eaten 100 times before has never truly been tasted. The root of transformation begins here, by recognizing that food is not just calories or cravings, it is life. The earth, the rain, the farmer's sweat, the sun's warmth, all of these live inside that single bite. And when we eat mindfully, we do not just feed our bodies, we feed gratitude, awareness, and peace. Chapter 2: Mindful Living, Mindful Eating. Dear listener, Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us that mindful eating is not an isolated practice. It blossoms from mindful living. The way we breathe, walk, speak, and listen all shape the way we sit at the table. Think of your day. How often do you rush from one task to another, hardly aware of your own breath? When life becomes hurried, eating becomes hurried too. But when we slow down, life itself begins to taste different. In this chapter, the authors remind us that mindfulness is the art of being fully present, to breathe consciously, to walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet, to listen without judgment. These are practices that transform ordinary moments into sacred rituals. And when you bring this presence to eating, the act of nourishment becomes meditation. Imagine a family meal, phones set aside, television turned off, each person arriving with awareness. The meal begins with gratitude, perhaps a silent breath or a smile. Every bite becomes a celebration of life. In that moment, eating is no longer mechanical. It is communion, with nature, with each other, and with the self. Dr. Cheung adds the scientific perspective. Mindful eating helps us regulate hunger and fullness cues, reduce stress-related overeating, and even improve digestion. But beyond science, the heart of the practice is joy. Joy in slowness, joy in appreciation, joy in knowing that to eat mindfully is to live mindfully. Thus, mindful living and mindful eating are not separate. They are one river, flowing together, nourishing both body and spirit. Chapter 3: The Roots of Our Habits. Dear listener, have you ever wondered why change feels so hard? Why even with the best intentions, the diets, the promises, the resolutions, we slip back into the same old patterns? Thich Nhat Hanh and Dr. Lilian Cheung remind us that the answer lies in our habits. Habits are the invisible threads weaving through our lives. Some are gentle and life-giving, brushing our teeth, greeting loved ones with kindness, pausing to breathe. Others, however, are binding chains, overeating when stressed, reaching for junk food when tired, eating not because we are hungry, but because we are lonely. The authors explain that many of these habits are planted early, shaped by family, culture, advertising, and even trauma. For example, a child who is comforted with sweets learns to equate sugar with love. An adult surrounded by fast food may unconsciously normalize unhealthy choices. But here lies the hope. Just as a seed can be replaced in a garden, so too can our habits be transformed. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us to shine the light of mindfulness on these roots. When we observe our actions without judgment, we begin to see the triggers that lead to them. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. Dr. Cheung reinforces this with science. The brain wires itself through repetition. Each time we practice mindful eating, pausing before a bite, asking, "Am I truly hungry?" we weaken the old pathways and strengthen new ones. Over time, these mindful choices become natural, effortless, even joyful. Dear friend, remember this. You are not a prisoner of your habits. You are the gardener of them. With each mindful choice, you plant seeds of health, compassion, and balance that will blossom into a new way of living. Chapter 4: A Weighty Problem. Dear listener, today we face a global crisis, not of hunger alone, but of overabundance. For the first time in history, more people are dying from diseases of excess than from scarcity. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease. These are no longer distant issues but daily realities for millions across the world. Thich Nhat Hanh and Dr. Lilian Cheung remind us that behind every statistic is a human story. A person struggling with body image, guilt, endless dieting, or the quiet pain of emotional eating. We live in a society where food is everywhere, yet true nourishment is rare. The authors explain that obesity is not merely about willpower. It is the product of mindless systems. Food industries that flood us with processed choices, marketing that manipulates our desires, lifestyles that keep us seated and stressed. Against this tide, individual will often feels powerless. But here is where mindfulness offers hope. Instead of diets based on deprivation, Savor invites us to practice awareness, to notice our hunger and fullness, to distinguish between physical hunger and emotional craving, to make each meal a conscious choice, not an automatic reaction. Dr. Cheung shares research showing that mindful eating helps people lose weight gradually and sustainably, not through restriction, but through reconnection. When you taste your food, when you honor your body's signals, overeating naturally diminishes. Thich Nhat Hanh adds the spiritual dimension. Mindfulness frees us from the cycle of shame. Instead of hating our bodies, we learn to care for them as precious vessels of life. Eating then becomes an act of compassion, not punishment. Dear friend, the weighty problem is not only about the body, it is about the heavy burdens of disconnection and despair. Through mindfulness, we can lift that weight, one mindful breath, one mindful bite at a time. Chapter 5: The Science of Mindful Eating. Dear listener, one of the beauties of this book is how it weaves two worlds together: the timeless wisdom of mindfulness and the cutting-edge research of modern science. In this chapter, Dr. Lilian Cheung brings us into the laboratory, while Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that the laboratory of life is right here, in our own breath. Science confirms what mindfulness has taught for centuries. When we eat with awareness, our bodies and minds respond in profound ways. Studies show that mindful eating can reduce stress hormones like cortisol, improve digestion, regulate blood sugar, and even alter the way the brain perceives hunger and satisfaction. Think of it this way. The body has two modes: fight or flight and rest and digest. Most of us eat while stressed, rushing, or distracted, so the body remains in fight or flight mode. Digestion slows, fat storage increases, and we never feel truly nourished. But when we slow down, breathe, and bring presence to eating, the body shifts into rest and digest. The same food is processed differently simply because of the state of our mind. Thich Nhat Hanh puts it beautifully. When you eat with mindfulness, you are not only feeding your body, you are feeding your peace. Dr. Cheung highlights research showing that people who practice mindful eating tend to choose healthier foods naturally. Why? Because awareness awakens discernment. A sugary snack might seem appealing at first, but when eaten mindfully, Its fleeting sweetness is overshadowed by the sluggishness that follows. With practice, the body learns to prefer what truly nourishes. Dear friend, here we see the meeting of East and West, of meditation cushion and scientific journal, both pointing to the same truth. Mindful eating is not only philosophy, it is physiology. It is a medicine available to all, free of cost, waiting in the pause before each bite. Chapter 6. Mindfulness as a Path to Health. Dear listener, Thich Nhat Hanh often says, "Health is the greatest wealth." Yet, in the rush of life, we treat health as something to chase after we've lost it, rather than a treasure to guard every day. In this chapter, the authors show us that mindfulness is not only about eating, it is a way of caring for the whole body and mind. When we breathe with awareness, when we walk gently, when we rest deeply, we are already practicing preventive medicine. Dr. Lilian Cheung explains how chronic stress, poor sleep, and emotional turbulence weaken the immune system, raise blood pressure, and fuel conditions like heart disease. But mindfulness interrupts this cycle. Research shows that daily mindfulness practice can lower stress hormones, improve cardiovascular health, and even slow cellular aging. Thich Nhat Hanh adds a poetic dimension. Every mindful act is a way of returning home to yourself. Drinking tea with presence, resting without guilt, smiling to your breath. These are not small luxuries. They are acts of healing. The authors remind us that true health is not just the absence of illness, but a state of harmony. To live mindfully is to listen to the body's whispers before they become cries. It is to respect the signals of fatigue, hunger, and emotion as guides, not inconveniences. Dear friend, health is not found only in medicine or hospitals. It is cultivated in the everyday choices of how we breathe, move, sleep, and, of course, eat. And mindfulness is the thread that weaves these choices together into a life of balance and vitality. Chapter 7. Transforming our relationship with food. Dear listener, think of your relationship with food. Is it one of peace, or is it a battlefield of cravings, guilt, restrictions, and regrets? For many of us, food has become both friend and enemy, a source of comfort and conflict at the same time. In this chapter, Thich Nhat Hanh and Dr. Lilian Cheung invite us to heal this broken relationship. They remind us that food is not the enemy, nor is the body our rival. Both are gifts, and mindfulness allows us to honor them. Mindfulness transforms eating from a mechanical act into a dialogue of love. Instead of asking, "What can I eat to lose weight?" or "What must I avoid?" the question becomes, "What food truly nourishes me, body and soul?" Thich Nhat Hanh shares a gentle practice. Before eating, pause and smile to your food. Recognize the sun, rain, and earth in it. When you eat in this way, even a small portion becomes deeply satisfying, because you are feeding more than hunger. You are feeding awareness and gratitude. Dr. Cheung adds that this shift in mindset has profound scientific effects. When we eat with appreciation, our stress levels decrease, digestion improves, and overeating diminishes naturally. Food no longer controls us. We walk alongside it as conscious partners. Dear friend, to transform your relationship with food is to transform your relationship with yourself. Instead of punishment, you give compassion. Instead of mindless indulgence, you give respect. Eating becomes an act of self-love, one that ripples outward into how you live, breathe, and even how you see the world. Chapter 8. A Mindful Diet. Dear listener, what does it mean to have a truly mindful diet? It is not about following strict rules, counting calories, or chasing the latest fad. Rather, it is about choosing food that nourishes both body and spirit, food that brings clarity, energy, and peace. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that every bite is a vote for our health, for the planet, and for the continuation of life itself. When we choose fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and foods close to their natural state, we are voting for vitality. When we consume mindfully and in moderation, we are voting for balance. Dr. Lilian Cheung enriches this wisdom with scientific clarity. A mindful diet emphasizes plant-based meals, lean proteins, and whole foods, while reducing processed items, excess sugar, and unhealthy fats. Such choices are not only good for the body, they also reduce stress on the environment, protecting the earth that gives us life. But a mindful diet is not about perfection, it is about harmony. If you enjoy a piece of cake, Do so with awareness and joy, not with guilt. The real practice lies in balance, in noticing when the body feels nourished and when it feels burdened. Dear friend, a mindful diet is a gift you offer yourself each day. It is a way of saying, I honor my body, I honor the earth, and I honor the present moment. When practiced consistently, this way of eating becomes a path, not just to physical health but to a more compassionate and sustainable life. Chapter 9. Mindful Movement. Dear listener, the body was not designed for stillness alone. Just as food nourishes us, movement awakens us. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that walking, breathing, and moving with awareness can transform even the simplest actions into meditation. Every step can be a poem, every breath a prayer. Imagine walking slowly, your feet kissing the earth, your mind resting gently in the present moment. This is not exercise for burning calories. It is exercise for awakening life within you. In mindful movement, we do not run away from ourselves, we return to ourselves. Dr. Lilian Cheung emphasizes that modern science agrees. Regular, gentle physical activity reduces stress, improves mood, enhances metabolism, and supports long-term health. But the key is sustainability. Choosing movements that bring you joy, whether it is walking in nature, practicing yoga, dancing, or even stretching with awareness. Movement becomes a celebration, not a chore. When combined with mindful eating, it creates a cycle of balance. Food fuels the body, movement strengthens it, and mindfulness harmonizes both. Dear friend, mindful movement invites you to see exercise not as punishment, but as a form of gratitude. Gratitude for the body that carries you, gratitude for the breath that sustains you, and gratitude for life unfolding in each step. Chapter 10. The Joy of Eating Together. Beloved listener, food is not only fuel, it is a bridge. Around a table, meals become more than nourishment. They become moments of connection, of laughter, of storytelling, of shared silence. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that eating together is an act of communion. When we share a meal mindfully, we are not simply consuming food. We are consuming togetherness, gratitude, and love. Every bite taken with awareness deepens the bond between hearts. Think of a family gathered, phones set aside, no television humming in the background. Just the aroma of warm food, the sound of gentle voices, and the presence of each other. In such moments, even the simplest dish becomes a feast of connection. Dr. Lilian Cheung highlights how studies confirm this wisdom. Families who regularly eat together not only eat more healthfully, but also strengthen emotional ties, nurture communication, and build resilience in children. Eating together mindfully teaches us patience, generosity, and gratitude. Instead of rushing, we savor the food, savor the stories, savor the presence of those we love. Dear friend, the next time you share a meal, pause before the first bite. Look around. Offer a silent smile of gratitude for the food, for the hands that prepared it, and for the souls sitting with you. That is the true banquet of life. Chapter 11. Transforming the World with Mindful Living. Dear listener, here we arrive at the heart of the teaching. Mindfulness is not just a personal practice. It is a seed that can transform the world. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that when we choose to eat mindfully, to breathe mindfully, to live with awareness, we are not simply improving our health. We are shifting the fabric of society itself. Consider this. When you choose to savor your food, you naturally waste less. When you value each grain of rice, each slice of bread, you honor the earth, the farmer, the rain, the sun, and this gratitude ripples outward. Imagine if millions lived this way. Mindful consumption could ease the strain on our planet. Dr. Lilian Cheung ties this to modern science, showing how mindful choices ripple through public health, environmental sustainability, and even economic systems. The simple act of choosing to eat with awareness can help reduce obesity, lower healthcare burdens, and support ethical food production. But beyond statistics, there is a deeper truth. Mindfulness awakens compassion. When we are present, we see our interconnectedness. We begin to care not only for our own well-being, but also for the well-being of others, of animals, of forests, of oceans. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, "When we walk mindfully on the earth, we heal her with every step. And in the same way, when we eat mindfully, we heal her with every bite." So, dear friend, Let this not remain only a personal journey. Let your mindfulness shine outward, into your family, your community, and the world. In this way, each mindful act becomes a quiet revolution. Dear listener, we began this journey with something so simple, so ordinary, a single bite of food. And yet, as Thich, Nhat, Hanh, and Dr. Lilian Cheung have shown us, within that bite lies the secret to health, happiness, and harmony with the world. We discovered that mindful eating is not a diet, not a restriction, not a rule, but a way of being. It is an invitation to slow down, to honor our body, to respect the earth, and to bring presence to the table. We learn to pause before eating, to breathe between bites, to listen to the signals of our body, and to let gratitude flow into every meal. We explored how mindfulness not only nourishes us, but also transforms our families, our communities, and even the planet. Thich Nhat Hanh taught us that each grain of rice contains the sun, the rain, and the farmer's labor. To eat mindfully is to touch life itself, to recognize the miracle hidden in the everyday. And Dr. Cheung reminded us that modern science supports these truths. Mindfulness helps us manage weight, heal stress, strengthen relationships, and build resilience in both body and mind. So, dear friend, let us carry this wisdom with us beyond the table. May we savor not only our meals, but also our conversations, our walks, our breaths, our lives. For to savor is to live fully, to embrace the present moment as the greatest gift we have. Thank you for joining me on this mindful journey. If these reflections touched you, I invite you to share this episode with someone you love. Let us spread mindfulness, one meal, one moment, one breath at a time. Until we meet again, remember, the miracle is here in this very moment. Savor it.